Hi, Sagittarius Sun and Rising. Welcome to your December 2023 Astro Update. It's Rena here. As a Sun and Sag myself, I'm very excited when December rolls around because that's my birthday month. I know it's a lot of you guys' birthday month, but for those who are born in November, happy birthday to you as well. I'm recording this during the first week in November, so Sag season has not yet begun as I record this. So while I was compiling the list of transits, the major transits, I was thinking, wow, there's more than I thought that there were. So December is a busy month. On the first of the month, Mercury goes into Capricorn. And for Sagittarius, this is the second house. So when Sag has transits in the second house, the house of earned income, and December is the time. Now, it's not always the same, at the very beginning of the month that you see Mercury here and all these other things going on. This is a time that money can be an issue for you. You may find that it's a good time for money in general for you in December, maybe January, maybe even during November sometimes, depending on the year, because when planets go into that second house, that can certainly be triggering to your finances, and hopefully in a positive way. But it's interesting because Pluto has been in Capricorn and retrograding, and Pluto went direct on October 10th. But because it's so slow moving, it just takes its sweet time. And during December, I'm just looking here, and it gets to 29 degrees of Capricorn, but it still hasn't left the sign of Capricorn. So it won't do so until the 20th of January. And that's interesting because that's the same day as the sun goes into Aquarius. So it's kind of like the Aquarian age. But, it is going to go back into Capricorn in 2024 as well. So this may have brought up issues regarding money for Sages, and it's possible because with the retrograde, it can mean that things are being reviewed, but also maybe there's some stagnation or, like lack of forward movement. And, especially going into a former sign, kind of like revisiting old territory that may have been true for some Sages. And so I just wanted to tell you when Pluto is officially going to go into Aquarius, because then it's going to leave that second house altogether. But there's not, Pluto being in the second house itself is not a bad thing. Pluto can actually confer wealth, but the problem is that it has been retrograding, and so it might have brought up something that you'd already been dealing with. And then on top of that, Jupiter, our ruler, has been retrograding as well. And so when a person's ruler is retrograding, they may feel like their life is a bit on hold. So I'll get to that. That's going to be at the end of the month when Jupiter goes direct. But just pay attention to this and realize if you have been feeling a little bit like your finances haven't been all of that, that might be part of that influence. But Mercury going into Capricorn makes you think about finances at the very least. Maybe you're doing some kind of computations with what's going on. thinking about ideas of income streams. On the 4th, Venus goes into Scorpio. So this is the 12th house for Sag. This means that Venus is going to be in a very social place in Libra until the 4th of December. If you're listening in November, Venus is going to be in that 11th house. And that can be very social for Sagittarius, but also even with love. I mean, you can meet someone through your friendships or through groups that you belong to. Now that Venus goes into the 12th house on the 4th, you may be kind of secretive about a particular person that you have met. And by the way, remember that this is during the holiday season. The holiday season, at least in United States, if not North America, starts on Thanksgiving. I mean, there's a Chicago radio station that has been playing Christmas songs starting, I think it was like November 1st. And they get a lot of blowback about that because a lot of people say, no, that's too early. But that's what they do. And then on Christmas Day, they stop playing Christmas songs. And I want to hear them when I finally am ready to hear them. So that could be a great time to meet a special someone, but then you may kind of take it into the private area. Also, if you're just meeting someone, starting on the 4th, it might be a soulmate type of connection, because the 12th house can be karmic. And, you may feel like you've known them in a past life. If you're artistic, you might be doing some kind of artistic project behind the scenes. You don't necessarily want to tell everybody, and you don't want to bring it out yet. You're working on it behind the scenes. On the 6th, Neptune turns direct at 24 degrees of Pisces, 24 degrees, 53 minutes to be exact. So Neptune turning direct for Sag, this is going to be in the 4th house of home and family. So there may have been some disillusionment about something domestically. And this may have led to Sagittarius feeling like, oh, I'm never going to achieve this goal. Like maybe it was a particular property or an area that you wanted to live. And now this could be very good for holding the highest vision for that. Maybe you've had to face a harsh truth about something, and now you've healed from it, and it's okay. You've seen, we have to, in life, we have to have our dreams that are not dreaming big. That's something that Sagittarius like to do. There's nothing delusional about that, as long as you are like, okay, this is my goal or this is my dream. How can I make this a reality? And being able to envision things without this sense of needing to, just reside in fantasy, but really having a game plan. And this may be now you can dream again, knowing what the truth is, knowing what you're working with. On the 12th, we have a new moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So especially if you are born around that degree, maybe a few degrees in each direction, this will be, in particular, something that affects you the most. But for all Sagittarius, this is your new moon, and this is a time to set intentions about what you want to bring into reality. If you're born before 20 degrees of Sagittarius, this will fall in your 12th house. So you're going to look to the new moon I'm talking about Sag rising in particular. I mean, with the sun I don't. I want to talk about the Sag rising signs right now. This will be in your 12th house, and this can still be a time to think about the things that you want to bring into your life in the next year. But your actual active intention setting will be around that new moon of the 11th of January of 2024. And I will say that that is a time when all the planets are direct except for Uranus, which is an outer planet. So that is going to be a great, there's going to be a green light portal in 2024, starting at the, specifically where all the planets are direct at the end of January going into the month of March. So that's very exciting. But anyway, that's on the 12th, the new moon. And then the next day we have Mercury retrograding. So Mercury at the time of that new moon is already very much in its shadow. It's on the eve of the Mercury retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde is actually going to be at 8 degrees of Capricorn. Because remember, Mercury went into Capricorn on the 1st of the month. So that's going to be in your second house. So there is something still with the financial aspects. This is not, aspecting Pluto by a long shot. Pluto is, whatever, 27 degrees, 28, whatever, 29 degrees of Capricorn at that point. But still, they're both in that same house. And so, when you have ideas, you may have to think about if this is really the way you're going to go about it. And so the interesting thing about this Mercury retrograde is that Mercury goes direct on January 1st. I mean, how perfect is that? I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was, that Mercury had gone retrograde in December, and it went direct on January 2nd, but I like it when it goes direct on the 1st because, we always like to think that it's a clean slate on January 1st. And we've had retrogrades. I mean, I think we've had them several years in a row. I can't remember, with Mercury, and it's like blah, I like it when it's not that way. On the 21st is the winter solstice. That's when the sun goes into Capricorn. Now, if you're down under, obviously this is your summer solstice, and there is a different vibe because that is when the sun is at its apex, and then you're going to start to lose the light. And the people in the northern hemisphere were gaining the light. Now, from what I read, there's a period of time where it's kind of like standing still. Before, I'm talking about specifically the winter solstice, where for 3 days the sun goes down at the same time, and then you start to see that you're gaining a minute, and then you're gaining, and what they were trying to say was that was around Christmas, and that's where the origin of Christmas really comes from, because that's kind of like the rebirth, if you will. And that, I love that whole theme of the light getting stronger. So to me, this is a very powerful period. And for Sagittarius, the sun is going into that second house. So that is bringing more energy into your area of finances. On the 26th, there's a full moon at 4 degrees 58 minutes of Cancer. So for all practical purposes, 5 degrees of Cancer. This is falling in your 8th house, which is the house of transformation. And this is the house, well, I was going to say death, which is very interesting, talking about the rebirth of the sun, and then talking on the 26th about this area of death and rebirth. And this is a real, to me, it's very powerful when there are full moons and new moons in the eighth house, because this can really be a time for Sagittarius to purge, to feel that sense of like bringing to the surface things that have been kind of suppressed, detoxing, if you will, but at an emotional level, shadow work. This is an area of secrets maybe coming out, and that sort of thing. On the I put 23rd, that can't possibly be. Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah, the 23rd, but I put it in the wrong place. Okay, so the full moon in Cancer is on the 26th, so this day after Christmas. But on the 23rd, a couple days after the winter solstice, Mercury, which has been retrograding, goes back into our sign. Okay, so it goes back into the first house. And it's very interesting when there are retrogrades from the second to the first house, because another thing that the second house represents is self-worth. And the first house is the self. So it's always about, what a person feels about themselves, but also how they act, because sometimes they are not in alignment. A person can be upset and say, how come, I want to convey this, I don't like the word image because it sounds superficial, but I mean, I want to convey that I love myself, that I have self-love, but I do these things that seem to counteract it. And this can really be a time to think about those things, because Mercury is all about communication, and we think about communication as verbal, but there are so many other things. I mean, there's our body language, there's the way that we dress. I mean, as superficial as it is communicating our values, what it is that we value. People who wear designer clothes, they may show that they really think money makes the man, if you will. And people who dress down may be like, I don't care about that. That's not important to me. So yeah, so it is going to go back into your first house on the 23rd, and then you have that full moon on the 26th. And by the way, that full moon in the 8th house, that is a very profound area of life. You may have a download that has to do with your transformation. You may be saying, I'm done with this version of myself, because you have kind of discovered an inner truth. This is the area of metaphysics, the meaning of life, or the secrets of the universe. Actually, the house that Sag rules, is about pondering the meaning of life. On the 30th, Jupiter turns direct, a week after Mercury goes back into Sag, and it goes direct at 5 degrees of Taurus. The interesting thing about this is that back in the end of October, there was a lunar eclipse at, wait for it, 5 degrees of Taurus. So both of these events happening at 5 degrees of Taurus should mean something. There should be some connection. And what I think is that for some Sagittarius, maybe something that you thought you lost, you really gained. This area for Sag is the 6th house of health and service to others, otherwise known as work. So let's say that we can't really look at the day of the eclipse as the day that this might have happened, but around that eclipse date, you thought that you had a job offer and something fell through the cracks, you may get another shot at that. Something connected to work opportunities, health opportunities, or maybe healing opportunities may come back to you. And Jupiter in the 6th house can mean that you always have work. Jupiter is going to be in Taurus until May of 2024. So you will still have 5 months from this time to experience the benefits of the expansion of Jupiter in this house of work for you in 2024. So it's a great way to end the year 2023. Can you believe that we are at this point? And like I said, I'm recording this in early November. And even that seems like the year is almost over. It just seems like it's just been flying by. So I hope that you have a great December, Sag. And I hope that, 2024 is an amazing year for you. And if you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.